The universe doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. It doesn't let anyone escape the consequences of their own actions. Every force that works against you, every thorn thrown in your path, eventually circles back to the one who cast it. That's the unshakable law of balance. Those who plot against you, who whisper in the dark hoping for your downfall, are unknowingly tightening the noose around their own fate. They mistake their sabotage for power, but power doesn't belong to the weak-hearted. It belongs to those who rise despite the chaos. You weren't meant to walk the same road as everyone else. The chosen ones are not defined by comfort or ease, but by resilience so sharp it cuts through deception like a blade. The very people who wish to see you stumble. They are the ones destined to trip over their own shadows. The universe has a way of turning their hate into your stepping stones, their envy into your elevation. They wanted you broken, yet here you stand, unshaken, unbreakable, unstoppable. The truth haunts them. The more they try to suppress you, the more you rise. It's the nightmare they can't wake up from. The realization that every attempt to block your path only made you stronger. And when they finally look back, when they see you standing at the peak while they drown in the mess they created, it won't be you who lost. This is the brutal reality of being chosen. Your very existence disturbs those who lack the strength to build their own. Let them watch. Let them resent. Because while they waste their energy trying to dim your light, you'll be too busy becoming unstoppable. If you're ready to embrace that power, to step fully into the role the universe designed for you, then this is just the beginning. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let them witness what they could never be. This is for those who refuse to be average. Stay ahead, stay untouchable, and watch as fate does the rest. Number 1. Stop expecting to fit in. Your intelligence makes you an outlier. There's a reason the tallest mountains stand alone. The air is thinner at the peak, the climb is brutal, and few have the endurance to make it that far. This is the reality of the chosen ones. You weren't designed to blend in. Your mind was wired differently, your vision sharper, your instincts honed for something beyond the ordinary. But here's the paradox. The very intelligence that should bring connection often becomes the wall that separates you from the world. At first, it feels like a subtle divide. You catch insights others don't. You see patterns they overlook. Conversations feel slow, predictable, like watching a game where you already know every move before it's made. But the more you grow, the more you realize that people don't just struggle to keep up with your mind. Many don't want to. Your ability to see through illusions, to expose contradictions, makes them uncomfortable. They resent not just your intelligence, but the way it forces them to question their own reality. They call it arrogance when you refuse to engage in mindless chatter. They mistake your silence for weakness, your solitude for loneliness. But what they fail to understand is that isolation is not a curse. It's a consequence of seeing too much, knowing too much, thinking too deeply. The world moves at an average pace, built for the comfort of the majority. You exist outside that rhythm. The weight of intelligence isn't just the knowledge you carry, it's the burden of walking a road where few can follow. People bond over shared struggles, over blind spots they refuse to acknowledge, over ignorance that lets them sleep at night. But when you predict disasters before they happen, when you see the selfish motives behind kind words, when you analyze people better than they understand themselves, you become an anomaly. And anomalies don't fit neatly into society's expectations. Success won't change this. In fact, the higher you rise, the lonelier it gets. The same people who once ignored your potential now whisper behind your back, bitter that they couldn't keep up. Society praises intelligence, but only when it's manageable, palatable, safe. Step beyond that and suddenly you're too much, too intense, too calculated, too unpredictable. So what do? Shrink yourself to fit? Dull your brilliance to be more digestible? Number, you own it, you embrace it. You understand that not everyone is meant to walk beside you. The truth is, isolation isn't a prison. It's proof that you are operating on a level most never reach. Those who truly understand your mind are rare, but they exist. And when you find them, they will elevate you, sharpen you, challenge you in ways the masses never could. The world was built for the average. You were not. So walk alone if you must, but never lower your frequency. The right ones will find you at the peak. If you resonate with this, if you refuse to let your mind be diluted for the comfort of others, then this is your place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stand with those who refuse to be ordinary. Let them watch, let them doubt. But when they look up, they'll see you standing where they could never reach. Number 2. Don't let your high IQ destroy you. Master the weight of your mind. Chosen one, your mind is not like the rest. You don't just see the world, you see through it. While others move blindly through life, following traditions without question, trusting authority without proof, believing in the stories they've been fed, you see the strings that pull the puppet show. And once you see them, you can never unsee them. People call intelligence a gift. They think it's a superpower that makes life easier, but they don't understand the weight of it. A high IQ doesn't just sharpen your mind, it strips away the illusions that comfort everyone else. Where they see stability, you see the cracks in the foundation. Where they hear promises, you hear manipulation. Where they feel safe, you recognize the invisible cages they don't even know exist. Ignorance is bliss. That's not just a cliché. It's the reason most people are able to live without drowning in the weight of reality. They accept, they trust. They coast through life, never questioning, never doubting, never needing more than surface-level truths. But your mind refuses to settle. It dissects, questions, deconstructs. And the more you understand, the more exhausting it gets. People wonder why some of the most brilliant minds struggle with depression, anxiety, and existential dread. They assume intelligence should lead to happiness. But happiness is rooted in illusion, in believing the world is fair, that justice prevails, that good intentions matter. You know better. You see the selfishness disguised as kindness, the corruption hidden behind leadership, the lies that keep the system running smoothly. And here's the cruelest part. Seeing the problem doesn't mean you can fix it. You can predict disasters, but no one listens. You can explain human nature, but people prefer their comfortable delusions. You're trapped between knowing too much and being able to do too little about it. That's the cost of being chosen. The world expects you to play along, to pretend you don't see what you see, to be satisfied with the same shallow distractions that keep everyone else pacified. But you can't. You won't. Because your mind is wired to seek truth, not comfort. And that is why they fear you. That is why they resent you. Because while they cling to their illusions, you stand untouched by their deception. Your awareness is both your power and your burden. So what do? You sharpen your mind, you master your awareness, and most of all, you refuse to let the weight of truth break you. Because while they live in their carefully constructed illusions, you are walking through reality, armed with knowledge that makes you unstoppable. This is the price of being chosen, but it's also your greatest weapon. If you understand this, If you refuse to drown in the weight of your own intelligence, then this is just the beginning. Like this, subscribe and let them watch as you rise, while they remain shackled to the lies that keep them comfortable. The burden is heavy, but so is the crown. Number 3. Stop seeing everything. Some truths are a curse, not a gift. Chosen one. Your IQ is not just a number, it's a gateway to seeing beyond the illusion. But that kind of perception comes with a price. Most people live in a world of comfortable deception. They take things at face value, trust authority without question, and move through life blissfully unaware of the deeper mechanics behind human behavior. But you don't have that luxury. Your mind is wired to see beyond the surface, to recognize patterns, motives, and hidden agendas that most remain blind to. At first, it feels like a gift. You see when people are lying, even to themselves. You catch the contradictions in their beliefs, the flaws in their logic, the emotional biases driving their decisions. You recognize how conversations are subtly manipulated, how society controls behavior through unspoken rules, and how most human interaction is fueled not by sincerity, but self-interest. But here's the problem. People don't want to know the truth. They'd rather protect their illusions than face uncomfortable realities. When you expose deception, when you question the narratives they cling to, you don't just threaten their worldview, you threaten their sense of security. And that's when they turn on you. They don't fight back with logic, because deep down they know they can't win. Instead, they fight with emotion. They call you cynical, arrogant, overthinking too much. Not because you're wrong, but because it's easier than facing what you've revealed. They would rather label you the problem than admit they've been blind. So you learn. You stop explaining. You stop sharing. Not because you doubt what you see, but because you realize most people aren't ready. The truth is lonely. The truth comes at a cost. And the curse of perception? Knowing exactly why the world is broken, while realizing there's nothing you can do to fix it. But here's the twist. This curse is also your advantage. The ability to see through deception means you are always ahead. They may resist the truth, but you own it. They may reject reality, but you control it. And while they stumble through life blind, you move with unshakable clarity. So let them call you whatever they want. Let them cling to their comfortable ignorance, because at the end of the day, when everything collapses around them, they will wish they had your eyes. If you refuse to be blind, if you embrace the power of seeing what others fear to see, then hit like, subscribe, and remember, your mind is your greatest weapon. Wield it wisely. Number 4. Escape the trap of overthinking. Simplicity is a weapon too. Chosen one. Your mind was never meant for the mundane. While the world finds comfort in repetition, in predictable conversations and shallow distractions, you are cursed or blessed with an intellect that refuses to settle. Your thoughts move too fast, too deep. You crave complexity, not because you want to, but because it's the only thing that satisfies your hunger for understanding. And this hunger, it isolates you. For most people, happiness is found in the familiar. They gather around empty conversations, laugh at predictable jokes, and cycle through the same routines without a second thought. But for you, small talk is like dragging nails across a chalkboard. Surface-level interactions feel like wasted time. Even so-called relaxation doesn't work, because while others can switch off their minds, yours never stops analyzing, dissecting, questioning. A simple movie isn't just entertainment, it's a formula. You see the recycled plot lines, the manipulative camera angles, the deeper meaning behind every scene. A casual conversation isn't just words, it's a breakdown of human psychology, an unconscious analysis of tone, micro-expressions, and intent. Even a quiet walk. It turns into a debate inside your head about philosophy, science, or the trajectory of human civilization. This is why boredom haunts you like a shadow. The world moves at a slow, predictable rhythm that was never designed for minds like yours. While others find joy in the simple, you feel trapped by it. It's not that you don't want to enjoy life's little pleasures. It's that your brain won't let you. The need for depth, for meaning, for stimulation is inescapable. And this, it comes at a cost. Relationships become difficult, not because you don't care, but because genuine connection requires depth, and depth is rare. You may appear distant, uninterested, lost in thought, but in reality, you're searching for something most people cannot offer. This is the paradox of intelligence, the ability to understand everything except how to be satisfied with less. While the world is content with the ordinary, you are trapped by your own brilliance, forever seeking, forever craving, forever pushing past what others accept without question. But here's the truth. This is not a weakness. It is a weapon. Let them drown in simplicity. Let them settle. You were never meant to walk their path. Your mind is a machine designed for the extraordinary, so use it. If you resonate with this, hit like, subscribe, and step into the space where the exceptional belong. Because the chosen ones, we don't conform, we lead. Number 5. Intelligence alone is worthless. Without strategy, you'll be ignored. Chosen one. Your mind is a weapon, but even the sharpest blade is useless in the hands of someone who doesn't know how to wield it. The world doesn't reward intelligence, it rewards those who know how to use it. History is littered with forgotten geniuses, minds that could have shaped the world but faded into obscurity because they lacked one crucial thing: strategy. You see, intelligence is raw potential, but potential means nothing if it's never harnessed. A high IQ gives you the ability to process information faster, recognize patterns others miss, and solve problems before they even arise. But without a plan, without execution, it's just a fireworks show inside your head. Brilliant, but ultimately meaningless. Look around. The corporate world isn't run by the smartest employees. It's run by those who know how to navigate the system. Politics isn't dominated by the deepest thinkers. It's controlled by those who understand influence. Even in everyday life, intelligence alone won't earn you respect. It's how you apply it that determines your standing. The harsh truth? Intelligence can even be a liability without strategy. Overanalyzing leads to hesitation. Seeing every possible outcome can paralyze you. Thinking too far ahead can isolate you from those who only see what's in front of them. Meanwhile, a less intelligent but highly strategic person moves. They take risks, build networks, and understand timing. And timing? It's everything. Look at the most powerful people in the world. They are not always the most brilliant minds, but they are masters of execution. They know when to speak, when to stay silent, when to adapt, and when to strike. They don't just have ideas, they know how to sell them, how to implement them, how to make others believe in them. Intelligence without strategy is like a sports car with no steering wheel, fast but directionless. The true rulers of this world. They are not always the smartest. They are the ones who know how to use smart people. So, chosen one, you have the mind of a king, but what's a king without a throne? It's time to move, to plan, to dominate. If you refuse to let your brilliance go to waste, if you're ready to turn your intelligence into true power, then this is your path. Hit that like button, subscribe, and step into your rightful place. This world belongs to those who are not just smart, but strategic. Let them see you rise. Let them realize, too late, that you were never meant to be ignored. Number 6. Adapt or become irrelevant. Genius means nothing without flexibility. Chosen one. The world does not reward intelligence, it rewards movement. It does not hand victory to the smartest, but to the most adaptable. The ability to think faster, process deeper, and understand more means nothing if you cannot adjust, maneuver, and execute when the moment demands it. A sharp mind without flexibility is like an engine without fuel, powerful but going nowhere. History is filled with brilliant minds who faded into irrelevance, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they refused to evolve. They clung to knowledge as if it was enough, mistaking their intellect for a guarantee of success. But the world is a battlefield, and battles are not won by those who think the most. They are won by those who strike when it matters. The smartest ones? They often overthink, hesitate, chase perfection until the opportunity is gone. Look around. The most powerful people in the world, CEOs, strategists, leaders, are rarely the most intelligent in their field. But they understand timing, human nature, and the art of adaptation. They know when to pivot, when to abandon outdated ideas, when to evolve before the world forces them to. Meanwhile, many highly intelligent people stay trapped in their own heads, calculating endless possibilities while someone else takes action and wins the game. Chosen one. Your intelligence is a weapon, but only if you know when and how to use it. If you cannot adjust to reality, you will become irrelevant, no matter how brilliant you are. The world moves whether you are ready or not, and if you refuse to move with it, it will crush you under its weight. The ability to read the room, influence decisions, and maneuver through uncertainty will always outshine raw intellect. Success is not about how much you know, it's about how well you execute, evolve, and dominate the field in real time. Intelligence without adaptability is wasted potential. Knowledge without action is nothing. So ask yourself, are you willing to evolve? Are you willing to step out of the mental maze and start conquering the world on your terms? Because in the end, genius isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing when to move. If you're done watching the world reward those who take action, hit that like button, subscribe, and start playing the game on your own terms. Your mind is powerful, but only if you use it to win. Number 7. Stop thinking you're special. Prove it or be forgotten. Chosen one. Your mind is a weapon, but what good is a weapon if it never fires? Being intelligent, gifted, or even chosen means nothing if you don't turn that power into results. The world is filled with brilliant minds that never built anything, never moved anything, never changed anything. They had potential, but potential is a graveyard for those who never act. You see, intelligence alone doesn't guarantee impact. It doesn't make you unstoppable. Execution does. There's a hard truth that most people refuse to accept. The universe doesn't owe you success just because you were born gifted. No one is coming to hand you power, to validate your brilliance, to recognize your talent before you've proven it through action. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you never step forward, never apply what's in your mind, then you're no different from the ones who were never gifted at all. Greatness is not about what you could be, it's about what you actually do. The world doesn't reward thoughts, it rewards execution. No one gets remembered for the ideas they kept locked in their head. No one is respected for the theories they never tested. And no one, absolutely no one, is feared for the power they never used. While you're overthinking, someone else is outworking you. While you're refining your plans, someone else is executing theirs. The world will always favor the one who moves, who dares, who acts over the one who hesitates. The difference between being forgotten and being legendary is not intelligence, it's discipline, consistency, and action. Understand this: the greatest enemy of the chosen one is stagnation. The mind is a powerful thing, but it can be a prison if you let it trap you in endless overthinking. You weren't chosen to sit still. You weren't gifted to fade into the background. You were given this advantage so you could move differently, think differently, and execute differently. So prove it. Step into the world and leave your mark. Every moment you wait, your gift is wasted. Every hesitation is a step toward irrelevance. The universe has given you power, but what you do with it, that's on you. If you're ready to prove your worth, to turn intelligence into action, then it starts now. Like, subscribe, and step into your power. The world won't remember what you thought. It will only remember what you built. Number 8. Quit chasing validation. Most people will never understand you. Chosen one, your mind isn't wired like the rest. You don't just think, you see. You see the patterns others miss, the contradictions they ignore, the deeper truths they refuse to acknowledge. But here's the brutal truth. Most people will never understand you. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. At first it's frustrating. You explain ideas only to be met with blank stares. You predict outcomes while others are still stuck debating the basics. You try to offer clarity, but instead of gratitude, you get resistance. Why? Because people fear what they don't understand. And a mind like yours? It's a threat to their illusions, their comfort, their carefully built world of mediocrity. The mistake many chosen ones make is trying to fit in, dulling their brilliance, shrinking their ideas to be more digestible. But tell me, what happens when a lion tries to live among sheep? It doesn't become one of them. It just forgets its own power. The truth is, not everyone is meant to understand you, and that's a gift, not a curse. The greatest minds in history, the innovators, the visionaries, the game changers, were always misunderstood. They were mocked, doubted, and labeled as too much. But guess what? They weren't remembered for fitting in. They were remembered for reshaping reality itself. So here's your choice. Waste your time chasing validation from those who cannot comprehend your frequency, or embrace the power of standing apart. The right people, the ones who challenge, sharpen, and elevate you, will recognize your value without you having to prove it. The rest? Their understanding is irrelevant. Stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to see. Stop dimming your light for those who fear the brightness. The world was not built for chosen ones like you, so why waste a second seeking permission to exist within it? Let them misunderstand you. Let them doubt you. Let them watch from a distance as you reshape the game while they struggle to keep up. If this resonates with you, then you already know. You're not here to blend in. You're here to lead. Hit like, subscribe, and step into your power. The world doesn't need more people who fit in. It needs minds like yours to break the mold. Number 9. Your mind is your biggest enemy. Control it before it controls you. Chosen one. Your greatest enemy isn't out there, it's within you. The mind that makes you powerful is the same one that can shackle you in chains of hesitation. Intelligence is a double-edged sword, and if you don't learn to wield it, it will cut you down. The very brilliance that allows you to see solutions before others also forces you to see every possible failure. You don't just think, you overthink. You don't just decide, you second-guess. And while the world stumbles forward, making reckless moves without a thought, you remain frozen, trapped in the endless loop of what-ifs. You analyze every possibility, calculate every outcome, weigh every consequence. But here's the harsh truth. Perfection doesn't exist. While you hesitate, waiting for the flawless moment, opportunities vanish. While you rethink every move, someone with half your intellect but twice your audacity has already taken the leap. Overthinking isn't wisdom. It's a slow, silent self-destruction disguised as intelligence. And then comes the inner critic, the most brutal voice you'll ever face. It knows every weakness, every flaw, every imperfection, because it's yours. It whispers doubts into your mind, convincing you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, that you're not enough. It magnifies every mistake, turning minor missteps into unbearable defeats. The smarter you are, the harsher this voice becomes. The weight of your own expectations crushes you while others, blissfully unaware of their own flaws, charge ahead. But understand this, your mind is a weapon, not a prison. You must master it, or it will master you. Overthinking is the enemy of execution. The world doesn't reward those who think endlessly. It rewards those who act decisively. The greatest challenge of the chosen ones is not competition, it's self-trust. The ability to make decisions without getting lost in the maze of doubt. The ability to move forward even when you don't have every answer. Chosen one. The war you fight is not with the outside world, it's with yourself. And the only way to win is to silence the hesitation, trust your instincts, and move. Because the truth is, no enemy, no rival, no obstacle can ever defeat you, unless you let your own mind do it first. If you're done letting doubt control you, like this video, subscribe, and step into the power that was always yours. It's time to move. Number 10. The system wasn't built for you. Break it or be broken by it. Chosen one, you were never meant to fit in. This world was not designed for minds like yours. It was built for the predictable, the compliant, the ones who follow the script without question. The system doesn't reward brilliance. It tolerates it. But only when it's packaged neatly, controlled, and diluted. Step outside the mold, and you become a threat. From the moment you entered school, you felt it. The frustration, the boredom, the suffocating repetition. They told you education was about knowledge, but in reality, it was about conformity. Sit still, memorize facts, follow orders. Do not question, do not challenge. Do not think too far ahead. If you did, you weren't seen as gifted. You were seen as a problem. The system isn't broken. It was never meant to accommodate minds like yours in the first place. And then you entered the workforce. A place where originality is praised in speeches but punished in practice. Companies claim to value innovation, yet reward those who stick to routine. Play the game. Stay in your lane. Don't disrupt the hierarchy. If you dare to expose inefficiencies, question flawed logic, or refuse to bow to corporate politics, you are not seen as an asset. You are labeled difficult, rebellious, uncooperative. But the truth? The system fears what it cannot control. Socially, it's no different. Conversations feel shallow, interactions seem forced. And the things that excite you barely register on the radar of the average mind. While others are content with trivialities, your thoughts demand depth, complexity, and meaning. But instead of sparking curiosity, Your intelligence often provokes discomfort. People mistake your intensity for arrogance, your insights for cynicism, your refusal to settle for something greater as being too much. So, what do? Blend in and suffocate, or disrupt and dominate? The reality is, you only have two choices. You can shrink yourself to fit a world that was never built for you, or you can force the world to adjust to you. And history proves that the greatest minds, the true visionaries, never asked for permission. They rewrote the rules entirely. Chosen one, you weren't given this level of intelligence to be silent. The system will never make space for you willingly. You must take it. Stay strategic, stay relentless, adapt when necessary, but never conform. Because while they struggle to maintain the old world, you are already creating the next one. If you refuse to let your mind be caged, if you are ready to carve your own path, hit that like button, subscribe, and step into your power. They can try to ignore you, but they will never stop you. Number 11. Intelligence won't save you. Only wisdom turns it into power. Chosen one, your mind is an unstoppable force, but without direction, even the sharpest blade is useless. Intelligence is a tool, a powerful one, but it is not enough. It can break down problems, process patterns at lightning speed, and see the world through angles most never will. But without wisdom, intelligence is just raw potential waiting to self-destruct. History is littered with geniuses who outthought everyone but outplayed no one. They saw 100 possible futures but never took a single step forward. They could dismantle ideas but failed to build anything lasting. Why? Because IQ doesn't teach you when to move. It only tells you what might happen if you do. Wisdom is what separates those who act decisively from those who overanalyze until the moment is gone. You've seen it yourself, the mind that's too sharp for its own good, tangled in possibilities, drowning in hesitation. Intelligence can trap you in endless calculations, making you believe that the perfect move exists. But wisdom knows that certainty is an illusion and action is the only way forward. You can think your way into stagnation, or you can move with calculated force, knowing that mastery comes not just from knowledge, but from experience. Wisdom is earned through battle, through failure, risk, and learning what no book can teach. The most intelligent people don't always win. The most strategic ones do. A room full of scholars can debate solutions forever, but the world is ruled by those who understand timing, patience, and the ability to strike when it matters. A high IQ will help you see all the paths, but wisdom will tell you which one to take. Many brilliant minds have been their own worst enemy, drowning in arrogance, paralyzed by perfection, or wasting years waiting for the ideal opportunity instead of creating one. Meanwhile, those with less raw intelligence but sharper instincts move ahead, not because they think more, but because they execute better. The system doesn't reward those who know the most. It rewards those who play the smartest. So chosen. 1. Don't just be intelligent, be dangerous. Be the one who sees, calculates, and then moves while others hesitate. Because in the end, it's not the smartest who win. It's those who understand when to think, when to act, and when to let go. Hit like, subscribe, and stay ahead of the curve. The world won't wait for you to decide, so make your move before someone else does. Number 12. Stop hoarding knowledge. Execution is the only thing that matters. Chosen. 1. Your mind is a fortress of knowledge, a library of untapped potential. But here's the harsh truth. Knowledge without action is dead weight. You can be the sharpest thinker in the room, the one who sees patterns no one else can, the one who understands the mechanics of success down to the finest detail. But none of it matters if you don't move. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. The mistake of the highly intelligent is thinking that knowing is enough. You consume knowledge relentlessly, dissect theories, analyze possibilities, and predict outcomes like a master strategist. But when it's time to step into the battlefield of reality, you hesitate. Why? Because action introduces something your mind hates: risk, the possibility of failure, of imperfection, of criticism. And for a mind that's wired to see 10 steps ahead, that uncertainty can feel paralyzing. But listen closely. Perfection is the enemy of progress. While you sit refining your ideas, someone with half your intelligence is out there executing. They are taking imperfect action, making mistakes, learning, adapting, and stacking wins while you're still waiting for the perfect plan to materialize. And that's why they win. A blueprint is worthless if it never becomes a building. No one cares how many books you've read if you never apply what you've learned. No one will hand you success for simply being intelligent. The world measures impact, not IQ. It doesn't matter if you have the best strategy, the deepest insights, the most advanced mind. If you never put them into motion, they mean nothing. Look at history. The most successful people weren't always the most intelligent. They were the ones who dared to act. They failed, they got criticized, they adjusted, and they kept going. Meanwhile, countless brilliant minds remained trapped in overthinking, analysis paralysis, waiting for the moment that never came. Chosen one. If you refuse to let your intelligence be wasted, if you're done sitting on the sidelines of your own potential, then act. Execute building. Take the step, even if it's not perfect, because the world isn't shaped by those who know. It's shaped by those who do. If this hit you deep, if you refuse to let your brilliance die in your own mind, hit that like button, subscribe, and prove that you are more than just potential. Stay sharp, stay ahead, and let the world witness what happens when intelligence meets action. Number 13. Ditch short-term thinking. Play the long game or lose. The world is filled with people chasing quick victories, blinded by their hunger for immediate gratification. They sprint toward the finish line, only to realize too late that the true race never ends. But you, chosen one, were never built for the short game. You weren't designed for cheap wins, fleeting applause, or temporary dominance. You were meant to build something that outlasts time itself. The impatient crave results now. They leap at opportunities without strategy, making moves based on impulse, trends, and emotions, not foresight. They mistake motion for progress. And while they celebrate their brief moments at the top, the truly intelligent, the strategic, the ones who understand power, they are silent, calculating, setting the foundation for something greater. Because power isn't about who wins today, it's about who controls the board 10 years from now. The greatest minds in history weren't just thinkers, they were architects. They designed the future long before others even recognized the blueprint. While others were distracted by short-lived trends, they were making moves that seemed small at the time, but became unstoppable advantages years later. The short-sighted laughed at them until they realized too late that they had been checkmated before the game even began. The weak chase instant gratification and burnout before they ever achieve anything substantial. The chosen ones cultivate patience. They sharpen their minds, refine their skills, and surround themselves with people who elevate them. Every action they take today is a seed planted for a future empire. They know that the slow grind leads to permanent power, while quick wins lead to quick collapses. This is why so many rise fast and fall even faster. They rush to prove themselves, to gain validation from those who don't matter, to feel like they've made it, only to watch their success crumble just as quickly as it came. But those who master the long game, they don't just rise, they stay. While others scramble for attention, you will move in silence. While they waste energy proving themselves, you will build yourself into something undeniable. And when the dust settles, when the impulsive ones have exhausted themselves trying to keep up, you will own the battlefield they thought they were fighting on. This is your advantage, chosen one. The game isn't won by those who move the fastest. It's won by those who see the future before anyone else. If you refuse to let the noise of the present distract you from the dominance of the future, then this is your place. Like, subscribe, and remember. While they rush, you build. While they chase, you conquer. And when they finally see what you've created, it will already be too late for them to catch up. Number 14. Master human nature, because data alone won't get you power. Chosen. 1. Your mind moves faster than the world around you. You see patterns before they emerge, predict outcomes before they unfold. But here's the brutal truth. Raw intelligence alone is not power. If you can't read people, influence them, or bend the game to your favor, then your intellect is nothing but a decorative trophy. Impressive, but powerless. The world isn't driven by logic. It's fueled by emotions, ambition, fear, and desire. Those who fail to understand this end up frustrated, underestimated, or worse, outmaneuvered by those who do. Your ability to process data, analyze information, and predict trends means nothing if you cannot master the minds of those who make the decisions. You could be the smartest in the room, but if you can't persuade, influence, or command attention, you'll be ignored while less intelligent strategists pull the strings. Look around. The most successful people aren't always the brightest, but they are the ones who understand timing, influence, and persuasion. They know when to push and when to pull back. They don't just present facts, they present narratives that shape perception. Because perception, not truth, controls the world. This is where many brilliant minds fail. They assume that being right is enough. That logic alone will win arguments, secure power, or lead to victory. It won't. Humans aren't robots. They don't operate purely on facts. Their choices are shaped by ego, emotion, and subconscious biases. And if you can't work within that reality, you will always be outplayed by those who can. History doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards strategic intelligence. The ability to read the room, anticipate reactions, and adjust accordingly. Geniuses create solutions. Leaders make others believe in them. And in a world run by influence, belief is more powerful than truth. The smartest people don't just think deeply, they act decisively. They know when to stay silent, when to strike, and when to let their enemies destroy themselves. They aren't enslaved by knowledge, they wield it like a weapon. So here's your choice. Remain an isolated intellectual, ignored and frustrated, or step into the realm of influence where true power exists. Intelligence alone doesn't make you unstoppable. Mastering human nature does. And that's the reality, chosen one. Intelligence alone won't guarantee success. Mastery of human nature, strategic thinking, and relentless execution will. The world isn't built for minds like yours, but that doesn't mean you bow to its limits. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to dominate. If this resonated with you, if you refuse to let your intelligence go to waste, then this is just the beginning. Like this video, subscribe, and step into the community of those who think ahead, move smarter, and refuse to be average. Stay sharp, stay ahead, and watch them struggle to keep up.